as we work in close proximity, finding their way forward. The battle is underway then in F4 UAE Championship Round 1 Qualifying 2 as we get ourselves up to speed, and we are ready for an exciting battle out on the course. And we are in very close proximity now. Kiana Al-Azari having got pole position for race 1. Who's going to get pole position for race 3? That is going to be the key question now, because it doesn't necessarily translate that the fastest driver from Q1 is going to be the fastest driver for Q3, because of course they don't always end up having the same pace. You've got to remember that every time they go out on the circuit, they lay more rubber down, which obviously changes the situation. So it's definitely going to be very exciting out there on the course. So now we're up to speed once again. Now, based on what we saw last time, a lot of the new boys in F4 had pretty quick times out there on the course, particularly the likes of Kyan Nakamura-Berta, Alfie Slater and Alex Powell, right up there at the sharp end. But they couldn't quite beat Kiana Al-Azari, who was on good pace. As too, of course, was the other United Arab Emirates racer in the field at the sharp end, and that is Rashid Al-Daheri, who has a year of Italian F4 behind him. But this is the first time he's ever raced in F4 UAE, because he wasn't old enough. He wasn't eligible to compete in F4 UAE at the beginning of last year. One of the youngest drivers, in fact, I think he was the youngest driver in Italian F4 last season. And certainly now up to speed with the team and up to speed with the car. Now he can take on his first F4 UAE campaign. Just give yourselves a little bit more space, boys. You don't want to get held up, particularly in the corkscrew section where you can really lose a lot of time. Drivers have been telling me, essentially, they're so used to driving this circuit on the Grand Prix layout on both the simulator and in real life, that when it comes to that braking zone for the sharp left of the corkscrew, it's difficult to pitch where you're going to go, especially considering that you don't want to lock the brakes. You've got to turn, you've got to get the brakes planted just right, the throttle needs to be nailed, the curb angle needs to be just so on the apex, but also, as well as that, there's no rubber on that part of the course because it hasn't been used, the corkscrew section, for single-seater racing for 3 years. So it's really tricky. It's been an interesting dynamic to throw the new, well, not new layout, but certainly an old-fashioned layout, the corkscrew section, just to shake things up a little bit for this year. As we look at the number 3, Thiago Rodriguez, the young man from Macau, who won this year's Chinese F4 Championship, was not able to convert that into a victory on the streets of Macau, of course. That was taken by Arvid Lindblad in his last ever F4 race, and managing to do that in fantastic style. And what's that about Arvid Lindblad in 2024, I hear you ask? Well, you're going to see him out on the circuit in a little under half an hour, because he's going to be out on the circuit for the Formula Regional qualifying session, as he'll be in the Red Bull colours in Formula Regional. But we'll talk about that in a little while. F4 UAE is where we currently are, and that man is starting to get up to pace. That is young Zach Scoulard, who is also based here in the United Arab Emirates. Has done a fantastic job in his karting, particularly in the Rotax categories, and here he is in his first F4 UAE qualifying sessions, doing a great job as well. Right up there in the strong form, right up at the sharp end of the field. There is Zach Scoulard. Look how much curb you take on the drop through. You've really got to be quite physical on the way through the corkscrew. It's a little bit like Laguna Seca in the United States, that particular part of the course, as we watch a very wayward Rashid Al-Daheri getting quite loose on the way out of what is the Formula 1 final corner, but obviously here it's not quite in the particular section. So through they come again. Yavan David, currently on the top spot for argument's sake, on a 1:47.889, the Sri Lankan, doing a terrific job. So still they continue on in fantastic fashion. But Scolar is now on the top spot again, 1:47.783 for him. Yavan David second from Riza Seraruthin, at least it was. Now Kamal Murad gone third. Now it's Thiago Rodriguez again. Once again, it's going to be this real shuffle of the decks every time they cross the line to start another flying lap. As Yavan David sits there in second in front of Alvis Rodella now, the Italian driver, in third position. And it's only about lap 4 or 5 that they're really going to maximise the speed and find the proper pace. Sector 2 has gone well for Alex Powell. So hopefully we'll see the American go up to the sharp end. Rashid Al-Daheri gets a 147.0 out of it. Alex Powell, a 147.020. It looks to me as though Rashid Al-Daheri's time has been disallowed for that run wide of track limits, which is very unfortunate. But it's certainly really good as far as Alex Powell is concerned, because he's just gone provisional pole. The Miami youngster, who is part of the Mercedes F1 Junior program, don't forget. And Alex Powell looking very strong in only his second F4 UAE qualifying session. Q1 was his first just a short while ago. So, Alex Powell doing a great job. Now, Kala Krakaski wants to know on the live timing sheet, what is the difference between the F4 and the R class? Well, the R class is for rookies. So the R class is essentially a championship within the championship, as it were. And a rookie qualifying session is obviously just as important as the main category, but there is a separate championship for rookies within the racing championship as well. Alfie Slater goes top, 146.8. That's very fast indeed. As Nikita Bedrin does a 147.008. That's more like it. I kind of wondered why Nikita Bedrin was off the pace for race 1, but he's back on it again for race 2. Nikita Bedrin, of course, raced in F4 UAE last season, so he's really hoping to come through and go for the title. Slater, Bedrin, Powell, Nakamura Berta, Fairclough, then Dion Gauda in front of Jules Caranta, who's done a good job. So too is Raphael Narak, the two Frenchmen, fresh out of the blocks and doing well. As up into second comes Keanu Al-Azadi, a 146.943, right up there battling for another pole. So Slater and Al-Azadi, first and second, then Bedrin, Powell, Nakamura Berta, Fairclough, Gauda, Caranta, Narak and Zach Scular in front of Jack Beaton and Ivan David. Then it is Enzo Ye as up to fifth position. Oh, sorry, up to third position, I should say, sorry, comes Rashid Al-Daheri. So the two young UAE-based drivers, one from Dubai, one from Abu Dhabi, absolutely loving it up in the top 3. And they've both managed to displace Nikita Bedrin. And if you want pole position, you're going to have to break into the 146.8 now. So Alex Powell has got a 147.0, pretty good start to things. Kia Nakamura Berta, P6. As still a lot of shuffling of the deck at the moment as Matteo Quintarelli has broken into the top 10. You can see how the pace is currently going in the sectors there. Freddie Slater's just pulled off of a 51.1 in the second sector. That is mighty quick. It looks like he could get even more than he's currently been able to produce. So a fabulous performance so far. But Freddie Slater on the top spot in front of Keanu Al-Azadi and Rashid Al-Daheri, the two young men from the United Arab Emirates. We have yet to have a UAE champion. The closest we've had to one was Hamda Al-Kubaisi, who drove a fabulous F4 UAE campaign 3 seasons ago, actually blitzed it here on this very circuit, dominated, I seem to recall, by a good 10 seconds in one of the races. That's the greatest viewing point you could ever wish to have, that yacht, isn't it? Nobody's taking advantage of it on this particular occasion. There is the number 2, that is Kai Lushin. So the young man from Hong Kong doing a fair job. There is the man who is now on the top spot. Keanu Al-Azadi has got a 146.623. That will make his father and brother very happy. Kareem Al-Azari is on the track here today, watching his son in action. His brother Adam is down the road in Dubai karting in the Rotax Championship of the UAE. So could be a very prosperous day at the office for the Al-Azadi family. So Keanu Al-Azadi looking very strong indeed here at Yas Marina, under the W Hotel, on the way to the Formula 1 start-finish straight. Freddie Slater in second, Rashid Al-Daheri in third place. The young man from Abu Dhabi, the Emirati, doing a great job in third place. Nikita Bedrin fourth, from Powell, Nakamura Berta, Fairclough, Gauda, Caranta and Dorian Pin, who has worked her way back into the top 10 overall again. Matteo Quintarelli, 11th place. Then it is Raphael Narak in front of Zach Scular and Jack Beaton. Then Ivan David from Sri Lanka, Enzo Ye and Alvis Rodella, the two Italians. Kamal Murad is in 18th place. Well, he was, but he's now been displaced as up the order. We've had a couple of drivers charge their way forward. I think that was the Australian Jack Beaton going his way further forward. No, it was Gabriel Stilp. Gabriel Stilp has launched himself into 11th position. So brilliant run for the British driver, who was always a bit of a firecracker in the world of karting. Now he's in his second F4 campaign. He did British F4 last year, of course, and did a fabulous job. Now he's got another opportunity here in his first international F4 campaign. But Keanu Al-Azadi has found a 146.6. That's going to be really tough to beat. He comes through again. A A 1:46.623 is the best time he has set so far. He doesn't improve on this lap, so he remains up at the sharp end, but he doesn't need to worry too much because he's found more than 0.2 of a second on Freddie Slater and Rashid Al Daheri for the time being. So an excellent performance so far. We're going to get to see so much more of this fabulous performance. Kiana Malazari, Freddie Slater and Rashid Al Daheri. That's the top three at the moment. So Freddie Slater taking on the locals. Nikita Bedrin right up there in P4 in front of Alex Powell and Kiana Roberta. Deegan Fairclough for the high-tech team. Doing a good job there out of the blocks. The leader of the high-techs as well. How are his teammates getting on? Well, Gabriel Stilp is currently in 12th place, Sebastian Murray in 23rd, and Diza Seraruthin is in 20th place. A big order for... it is a tough order for Diza Seraruthin, of course, coming out of sports cars last year in Ginettas and then stepping up to F4 this year. But rather ironic, really, that the boy from Bristol is choosing pretty much the same career path as Lando Norris, starting in Ginettas, working into F4. So still they battle away. A few seconds left, just to see who can work their way up the ranks of this final qualifying session. This, of course, sets the grid for race 3. So a fascinating battle as they continue on their way. The grid is already set for race 1. It will be set for race 2 by the results of race 1 this evening, with the top 10 reversed. But it's going to be fabulous to see how these final sessions come through. Freddie Slater just not able to find the time to get close to Kiana Al-Azadi, who has that extra year's experience, don't forget. I mean, Freddie Slater is still doing an amazing job for a rookie driver in F4. He only started racing F4 at the tail end of last year, don't forget. So for him to be right up there in P2, already over 1/10 of a second quicker than a man who's got a year's experience, Nikita Bedrin. Very impressive stuff. Just watching the number 40 going through, that is Aurelia Nobels, who is working her magic in the Santaloc team, as the checkered flag is now out once again. It looks like it's going to be Kiana Al-Azari doubling up for pole position here. So Kiana Al-Azari for the Yaz Heat Race Academy, doing a great job and finishing off in fine style. And there is Rashid Al Daheri, who tries to get into second place. He can't make it an all UAE front row, but you know what? Third position, very impressive indeed. So a fabulous situation and a really exciting situations out there. So not a bad performance. This has already been nicknamed by several people the F4 World Championship. Of course it isn't. We should, of course, clarify that SWC on YouTube is absolutely correct. The only international Formula 4 category of any kind is at the FIA Motorsport Games, which is taking place later this year in October at Valencia on the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. All of the F4 championships are, of course, national-based. So you can only ever be an F4 national champion until you get to the FIA Motorsport Games, when you can win the gold medal, which is essentially the Motor Racing Olympics, and that will happen later this year for the 3rd time. So Kiana Al-Azadi in front of Freddie Slater, Rashid Al Daheri and Nikita Bedrin. That's the top 4. Then Alex Powell, Kiana Roberta from Deegan Fairclough, and Jules Caranta doing a great job up in the top 10. Excellent work from the Frenchman. Dion Gauda in 9th position in front of Dorian Pin. And then we have Rafael Narak in front of Gabriel Stilp. Matteo Quintarelli is in there in 13th in front of Zach Scoulard. Jack Beaton in 15th in front of Enzo Ye. Then Yavan David in front of Alves Rodella. Kamal Murad and Diza Seraruthin. Then Tiago Rodriguez in front of Peter Puzanelos. Sebastian Murray is ahead of Lucas Samalisto, the Finn. And then Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, in front of Liu Kashun, the Hong Kong driver. Kai Dadianani, the Indian, in 27th place in front of the Australian Nicolas Stati. And then Aurelia Nobels, the Brazilian, in front of Everett Stack of the United States. Kari Schreiner struggling there in 31st position, the German driver, in front of Fu Yuhao and Max Popov, who did not really get a competitive lap time in at all. I think he must have had some kind of mechanical gremlins, because you would not expect to see Max Popov in such a low position. Even as a rookie driver in F4, I think he would be a little bit further up the ranks than that. Santeri Liikanen wants to clarify. Didn't Antonelli win the Motorsport Games with a broken wrist or something? He certainly did. I was there when he did it. And I said to him, surely you're not going to be able to pull this one off, are you? He went, you don't know me that well, do you? Good old Kimi. It's a shame we won't get to see him in the UAE this year. He is, of course, preparing to make his debut in FIA Formula 2. So he's taking a well-earned rest. But knowing him, you never know. He may pop up in the paddock at some point. I've seen a lot of competitors here in the UAE just keeping up with their training. The other day, Down at the kart circuit down the road from here in Dubai, I managed to catch a glimpse of Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly having a bit of a play. So this is the part of the world where racing drivers come to get some downtime and also do some training, whether it's on track or off track. So that is the Formula 4 UAE qualifying sessions for the first round of the 2024 campaign wrapped up, and it's a pair of pole positions for Kyano Al-Azhari, the boy from the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai, having a wonderful time of it in the Yazid Race Academy, very much following in the footsteps of his father Kareem, who is a very handy sports car racer, both here and abroad. And fabulous to see that Kyano Al-Azhari has done such a brilliant job at this early stage. We're just seeing a few of the drivers there getting out of the car. So there we are. There's the provisional results of Q2, which is the grid for race 3. Kyano Al-Azhari from Freddie Slater and Rashid Al-Aheri, Nikita Bedrin and Alex Powell. Then Kia Nakamura Berta in front of Deegan Fairclough. And then behind them, of course, it is very close. Jules Caranta, Dion Gauda, Dorian Pin and Rafael Narak from Gabriel Stilp, Matteo Quintarelli, Scular, Beaton, Ye and Co. A fabulous battle. And once again, there's only about 3 seconds covering the entirety of the field if you don't count Max Popov, who had mechanical problems in that session. So very exciting stuff. Everybody gearing themselves up ready for the break in between. And there it is. There's your top 10 coming into this one. Yazid Racing Academy on the top spot for Kyano Al-Azhari, and he is very happy indeed with that. 2 pole positions out of 3. Obviously, we don't know who is going to be starting from pole position in race 2 because that is a reverse grid draw. But excellent stuff and really exciting to see how things are going to battle away then. The Formula 4 UAE qualifying sessions are done. We now know that it's going to be a pair of pole positions. But the man you're looking at on your screen is about to move out of the world of F4 UAE. He battled for the title last year, and he's going into a whole new category. Formula Regional is coming right around the bend, and it's going to be really exciting as we see Arvid Lindblad battle for the Formula Regional title on his debut in the Red Bull colours of his Mumbai Falcons team. How's that going to play out? At least we know in F4 UAE, we're going to have a pair of pole positions for Kyano Al-Azhari with the likes of Freddie Slater snapping at his heels. The race coming up later today is going to give us plenty of excitement and drama. But next up on track here at Yas Marina is Formula Regional Middle East.